What's up guys, you already know, it's me Kira, and today I'm going to tackle a hotly debated topic, one that will probably get me into a decent amount of trouble. I'm going to present to you what is my 1000% honest depiction of the tier list in Super Smash Bros. Melee. However, I know that 99% of you will read into this tier list incorrectly, so we're going to go over a few rules about tier lists before I actually show you what's up. The first thing you need to know is that tier lists are purely subjective. There's no way to sum up all of the possible interactions of every character into one simple number. Subjectivity means that tier lists change over time, and honestly, you can still play and get good at the game just fine while completely ignoring any sort of tier list or matchup chart discussion entirely. Number 2. Pretty much all of the top 100 players have completely wildly differing opinions. They end up arguing with each other all the time on these lists, and half the time they're just trolling or memeing. Hungrybox disagrees with his very own coach on how good Jigglypuff is. Mango said that Marth and Sheik are the best characters. Everybody johns about how bad their main is. All I'm doing is presenting you guys with my own completely wild opinion. Number 3, I believe that anyone can become ranked in any region with any character in the game. In fact, as you'll see later, I think Jigglypuff's actually not very good and mostly overrated and has an awful disadvantage against the most common character in the top 100, and yet he can still win Evo. Look at Leffen's tier list. He says over half the cast can win a major. The best player in Japan uses Yoshi. I mean, you get what I'm saying. Basically, don't let these rankings affect your belief in your own character. And lastly, until you get to be like at least top 50 in the world, this list and other matchup charts might even be incorrect. The most obvious example being that you may find more success with ice climbers at a lower level of play than you would at the highest level of play. Alright, now as we move forward to the actual tier list, let's just forget all the things I just said and just get super passionate and salty over the following list.
Shake his hand.
Do it.
DP, shake his hand.
Come on,
shake
man.
His hand. Come on, bro. Come on.
Number 1 on my list, with no surprise, goes to Fox. I do believe Fox is the best character in the game. Fox is the best because he has the most amount of different options available to him. He has many answers for many different situations. He has options that other characters do not have, mostly due to his speed, the properties of his full hop, which give him angles that other characters don't have, and the fact that he has a shine, a one-frame invincible move that can be jump cancelled, that's useful in almost every scenario. However, just because he's the best does not mean he's invincible.
That was incredible. Someone give me that.
Yeah, believe it or not, Fox does have weaknesses, and the two biggest ones include the fact that he can be 0 to death by pretty much every character in the game, and the fact that he has very little range. Most of the characters in this game outrange Fox, and this has bigger implications than most people realize. Sheik throwing out a neutral air means that Fox has to respect this move. He can't run up to Sheik and beat it flat out the way that maybe Ganon or Marth can, for example. He has to not only trick them into throwing out the move, but he has to be able to avoid them and then get damage in that small timing window where Sheik is vulnerable. If Fox does get the timing right, he still has to be accurate enough to actually land his move solidly. Between Smash DI and crouch canceling, it's extremely difficult to get a solid follow-up on a lot of Fox's attacks. He requires the most precise movements and timings out of all the top tiers. But that having been said, Fox is still Fox. He has overpowered moves, he has an overpowered recovery, he has overpowered combos, and he has the most overpowered speed. He can make up for his weaknesses because of his overwhelming strengths, and the difficulty it takes to play him means a lot less once you get to the highest level. And that's why he takes the number 1 spot. The number 2 spot and the second most underrated character actually goes to my man, Falco. Pretty much everywhere I go these days that isn't my hometown, people are telling me Falco is like 4th at best, maybe even 5th or 6th in some extreme cases. But trust me when I say that's all utter bullcrap. Falco is the character closest to being able to usurp Fox's throne. Falco does not lose a single matchup in the game besides Fox, and even that matchup is so close that the top 5 players go back and forth on who wins all the time. Falco can bully Fox with superior hitboxes, shine combos that 0 to death, and his ability to get very efficient kills with his edge guarding, and his down air spike also allows him to keep up with Fox's speed. Some would argue that although Fox has more options at his disposal, the options that Falco has do cover more options at the same time. Falco beats every character by forcing them to approach with the best projectile in the game, and then zoning them out with some of the best defensive tools around. He's the king of covering all options while not having to hard commit to anything himself. Because of Mango and Westballs' character switches, and Westballs' stubbornness and not utilizing lasers to the fullest, people have been led to believe that Falco can no longer do it in the current meta.
Just this widespread, paranoia, Falco's dying, he's in recession,
However, most people seem to forget that PPMD was once the best in the world with Falco and only stopped playing due to his health issues. Most Falco players have given up on their character for seemingly no reason, or for a lack of matchup knowledge, but the lack of top Falco players is not in any way related to the strength of the character. Power shielding lasers is not even close to the end-all be-all that many make it out to be. His recovery is actually one of the best in the game, especially compared to some other top tiers, and his vertical movement makes floaty characters struggle to land hits. The problem is that most players are not willing to play Falco as quote-unquote lame as he's meant to be played. They see the flashy combos and tech skill and just throw out overly committal, high-risk, high-reward attacks until they get countered and die, but they're not willing to systematically push their opponents to the corner, remove all their options, and cover the few that are left with giant priority hitboxes that lead to extremely high damage combos and even better stage position. I'd be willing to bet that Street Fighter players would take this character and feel right at home, as they'd slowly pick apart their opponent with low risk, medium reward coverage and suffocate any hope of winning. In PAL, it's actually possible that Falco might be number 1, as Fox's recovery is slower and shorter, his up smash is weaker, he can't DI out of up throws, and he actually dies earlier for moves like back air or forward smash. But even in NTSC, his overall utility and very efficient attacks keep him in the same tier as Fox, and solidly in the number 2 spot. While Falco may be the second most underrated character, Marth is the second most overrated character. Many people think he beats Fox and Falco, as his giant disjointed hitboxes can never be infiltrated, and the power of his dash dance grab game convinces many that he's either number 1 or number 2 on the tier list. While number 3 may not seem like that far of a leap, I put him in a separate tier below the other two, because to me, he's clearly worse than both of the Space Animals. Marth's weaknesses compared to the top 2 include: his options are slightly more committal than theirs. While he does have some low lag options, he can't follow up on them as easily. His hitboxes are only strong at a very specific space and time, where Fox and Falco have much more leeway on their attacks. His recovery is much worse than theirs, and he can get gimped just as easily as he can gimp them. He is not only worse on platforms due to his slower movement, no lingering hitboxes that cover less area, and a worse shield, and therefore worse shield drop in platform game, but it also means he has a tough time getting back down from being juggled. In neutral, Marth is incredible, but he does have major issues trying to get back to neutral. Getting down from being juggled, recovering back to the stage, getting from the ledge back to center, all of these are just way worse than Fox and Falco's options, with their invincible ledge dashes and multi-recovery options. Marth's punish game is actually a lot harder than people think, requiring people to react to slight DI within ridiculously small windows. Nowadays, you can see Marth dropping a lot more chain grabs than before, or opting for moves that cover both DIs at once and trying to pick up a tech chase after. On platform stages, ASDI can allow you to escape his up tilt and up air combos at lower percents. What this does is skew the punish game back into Fox and Falco's favor. An up throw up air from Fox or a solid shine from Falco can lead to death, as Marth has such limited options in the air that it almost feels like he's getting comboed for his whole stock. Not only that, but if Marth isn't able to kill someone at just the right percent from a tipper or down air, they can end up living longer against him than any other top tier. That having been said, Marth's advantages are obviously still there. His disjoints may be difficult to use, but they're still giant disjoints, and top players can use them to the fullest. He's the best character at juggling people above him, and once you have enough understanding of the game, you can effectively wall out most characters. His dash dance and wave dash are potentially the best in the game, especially when used in conjunction with one another, as PPMD has even said that Marth straight up beats Fox on the ground. While Marth does have some weird problem matchups like Pikachu and Yoshi, he generally beats everyone else and does better against the top 2 than any other character, placing him in a tier all of his own. Peach and Sheik are really close in strength, but I personally give the nod over to Peach because she does better in a practical way against Fox and Falco than Sheik does. What I mean by practically is that while both characters do have 0 to death grab combos on the top tiers, Sheik's requires many more reaction tech chases in a row than Peach's, and is therefore much more difficult to pull off. Those of you who follow me on Twitter have probably seen my enthusiasm for anti-Sheik memes and trolling, having been a former Sheik main myself. However, jokes aside, I've never seen a truly convincing reason as to why Sheik wins head-to-head against Peach, as Peach has a better punish game, and her crouch canceling and float canceling limit Sheik's best tools in the neutral. Sheik may perform better in certain matchups like Marth, Falcon, and Jigglypuff, but Peach being able to take on Fox and Falco more efficiently gives her the edge. But if you swap these two around, I really wouldn't have an issue with it either way. And if Sheik players improve a lot at reaction tech chasing like Drugged Fox and Captain Face Roll, then I'll likely change my opinion. As powerful as all of Sheik's advantages are, they all seemingly share the same gigantic downfalls. Her aerials are fast, they have range, and they have power, but they all fail to beat crouch canceling. This single mechanic forces Sheik players to use retreating, spaced aerials into shield, or reduce their available options down to a measly 2, Needles and Grab. Her only good approaching moves, Dash Attack and Boost Grab, are definitely strong, but if she misses, then they're both easily punished with how much lag they incur. Short hop aerials are excellent zoning tools, but without a strong motivator to make the opponent approach her, like Falco does with his lasers, they can keep her slightly immobile. Needles aren't quite the replacement, since grounded ones have tons of lag afterwards and cannot be followed up on as quickly. These two characters round out the end of this video, as they are the last of what I would call the top tier characters, or those that you'll see extremely good success with at any level of play and can easily win major tournaments and become the best in the world with. Throughout history, we've seen all 5 of these characters take the #1 spot at various points in time, and I firmly believe we'll continue to see this moving forward as well. As always guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned for part 2.